All right, the twins are gone at a livestock judging contest, which means that I'm walking all the show pigs today, and every pig has a different problem that we're going to try to fix. So we have got one that doesn't want to drive, it moves really slow. We have one that runs out of gas after like 2 minutes, so we need to work on his stamina. We also have one that I worked on gates with. So today I will walk every pig and try to fix every issue, and you can watch along and see what I do to try to fix each problem that each pig has. So let's get started. There are 8 total pigs that I'll be walking, and when I walk this many pigs, I usually start with the hardest pig and then work my way to the easiest one, just so that I have my most amount of patience starting off with the harder pigs. So of course, we're going to start with the landrace. So this is Crew's landrace gilt, and the last time I saw this gilt, she was running off from Crew and fighting him every step of the way. So plain and simple, that just means they're spoiled and they're used to getting what they want. So I'm going to take her to the show ring so that she can't run off and go back to the barn. On my way there, I go through the gate, and take in mind this pig probably will never end up being a showmanship pig, but I still work on gates as if every pig could potentially be a showmanship pig. And it's also good just to do this because it teaches the pig respect and to listen to you and not to just barrel through the gates whenever the pig wants to do something. So this just helps by going through these motions of teaching a pig how to properly walk through a gate. So I'm going to go through exactly what I was doing with these gates and how I am training her. And each time you do this, it should get better and better. If it gets worse, you're doing something wrong. When you're working on gates, the pig should walk through the gate, and then you want the pig to stand there by the gate but not go back through the gate. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to tap her to make her hold still. So I usually won't latch the gate until she's holding still, but I could tell she wasn't going to. So I latched the gate, and sometimes your pig will walk off or run off, and what you have to do is go back, bring your pig back to the gate, make her stand still, and do it all over again and wait until you tell her to walk away from the gate. So then you'll do this a couple more times. The next day I will do it again, and she should learn eventually that she stands there until I tell her to walk. Then I go back to walking her as I would usually, and I didn't seem to have the same issues that Crew was having the night before when I saw him walking her. She was kind of running a little bit and a little stop and go, but other than that, nothing that I needed to really address. If the pig just wants to trot a little bit, just know eventually the pig will slow down as she gets older, as she gets bigger. So it's almost a good thing that she's moving faster right now, because that means she'll just end up being a faster pig and have more agility when she's walking as a bigger pig. So that's a good thing, and I'm completely happy with how she did today. So I always end before I put them back, I scratch their belly, make them realize that this is a good place to be and they want to be in the show ring and they want to get out and be walked. So that's how I end it, and then I put her back. Okay, landrace number 2. This is Karis's landrace, and they are both bred by McGrew show pigs, but they are not litter mates. And I also work on gates with her, just as I did with the first landrace. I take her through the gate, and I turn her to the left, and then I want to hold her there, just like I tried with the last landrace. And I'm not going to shut the gate until I feel like she's standing still, which is tricky because I've never worked gates with her before. So she starts to actually try to turn away, so I use my body as a shield to take her back towards the gate. And when I think she's going to stand still, which she doesn't, I latch the gate. She doesn't stand still, so I take her back to the gate and hold her there until I feel like it's time and I want her to turn. And then I turn her back and take her and walk her as usual. I walk each pig that isn't a showmanship pig for 5 minutes, and the showmanship pigs I walk for 10 to 15 minutes. So again, with her, I didn't see any big red flags that I needed to fix. So I walked her as usual for the 5 minutes, and then I stop her, scratch her belly, and put her back. Now it's time for Crew J's light cross barrow. His name is Rabbit, and he is from Hillberg Show Pigs. He finally went to his first show. He went to the Revival, and he calmed down a lot just by going to that show. So before that, we were having a lot of trouble with him, and now there's not really an issue. Sometimes taking him to the shows and getting them in and out of the trailer and in and out of the show ring just helps calm them down and teach them everything that they need to know. So that's why we highly encourage that you go to livestock shows. You can see how the pigs react and you can fix any problems there. And then when you go to your end game show, whether that be a county fair or CYE or a youth expo, your pigs are ready to go. You know how they're going to react, and that you are prepared with knowing how your pig is going to react in the show ring, whatever it may be. I didn't see any issues with this pig, so I scratched his belly and put him back. Now it's time for Karis's Light Cross Gilt, bred by Robbie Hilberg, and it is not a littermate to Crew's Light Cross. Her name is Ursula. So she, I think, eventually wants Bambino, Karis's showmanship pig now. Once she is done and goes back to Hilberg, then this will end up being her new showmanship pig. The only thing I really noticed with her was that she was a little stop and go and kind of dropping her head. So even though she technically probably doesn't need 2 whips, I think when you're trying to keep your pig at home trained for showmanship, you need to constantly have 2 whips on them just to either keep them going and keep them moving. And if you don't need it, drop it. If you're actually practicing showmanship and not just walking them, don't practice with 2 whips for showmanship practice. Right now, I am training her for showmanship, but I'm not actually doing showmanship practice, if that makes any sense. So my goal is to make her to keep moving forward for showmanship. So that's what the 2 whips are going to do. Then I think she's doing good. I rub her belly, I put her back, but I go the opposite way because she kind of always wanted to go towards this gate. So I take her in the opposite direction as to be like, that's not the out gate, this is. So then anytime she goes in the show ring, she's not trying to go towards one gate in particular. Each gate could take her home. So she now has to rely on you and decide where you want her to go. So basically, you don't want her to decide which way she wants to go. You decide. Next up is Karis's pig. This pig's name is Farva, and he's bred by Garrett Livestock. Crew also has a litter mate to this pig, and he got super sick. And when we had him castrated by the vet scanned his lungs, and he has major scarring on his lungs. So he's good enough that he's worth trying to fix. We're giving him vitamin C pills and omega-3. He's on OptiWise, and we're trying to build him up. At 2 minutes, he starts puffing, and we're trying to work him up to 5 minutes, and then eventually to 10 minutes without huffing and puffing. So county fair, the bad thing is, if you take this pig, he could be good enough to win market, but he's definitely not good enough for Karis to win showmanship. So we need him to at least walk 10 to 15 minutes without breathing heavily to win showmanship. So for this pig, it's basically just a numbers game. We're just going to walk him until he starts huffing and puffing, and then I try to push him just a minute past that. And then eventually we're going to hope that he will be able to walk longer and longer, and eventually he won't huff and puff for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I rub his belly and then put him back after 4 minutes as long as I walked him. Here's Crew's litter mate to Karis's. This one is called Car Ramrod. He's also bred by Garrett Livestock, and he has kind of very different issues. So we're trying to work on him just for the feed aspect on how he walks on his back legs. He kind of swings out and steps outside of himself. He's gotten a lot better. We got him castrated by the vet, so that definitely helped. And Kyle has been working on changing his feed, so definitely has gotten better. But he's also super hard-headed. He doesn't like to get his head up, and he's super slow. So he's a very challenging pig to actually walk. I'm walking him with 2 whips, which he needs to get his head up, but he doesn't actually move any faster with 2 whips. So I switch out and I try a brush. He responds way better to the brush. So he actually moves. So this is one instance where if something isn't working, you need to keep trying different things and see which works for that pig. So some pigs respond to the whip, some pigs don't. Some pigs respond to the brush over the whip. The trouble I'm having with this pig is he needs 2 whips to get his head up, but he needs the brush to keep moving, and I don't have 3 hands. So I, for now, choose movement over the head. The head is slightly acceptable. I wish it was up a little bit higher, but he definitely needs to move faster. So that is my priority here. Is normally if a pig is moving, they're going to get their head up a little better than if they're not moving. Then they're going to be dropping their head and then they're going to be stopping. Sometimes you just need to pick which is your priority and then go with that. So you can tell I'm getting tired now. I think I have 2 more pigs left to walk. So I forget and I don't rub his belly, but I just put him back. This is Foster, and he is bred by Small Town Genetics. So he is Crew's showmanship pig as of right now, but actually Karis's pig, because Crew doesn't have a good showmanship pig as of right now. So eventually, I believe Crew will use his little light cross Barrow once he gets better for showmanship. Since this is a showmanship pig, I work on inside turns, which I don't normally work on for any pig for market, because you should never be doing any inside turns for market, only for showmanship when you absolutely have to. This is just something your pig should know if you're doing showmanship, but I would never do this in market. And I tell my kids for showmanship, only do inside turns when absolutely necessary. Inside turns just don't look good, so I try to avoid, or have the kids avoid at all cost. But again, this is something that I believe every pig should know how to do, because it also, again, teaches your pig always to move forward and to do what you're asking them to do. This pig definitely does not need 2 whips, but I'm using the second whip because he's very slow. When I start doing the inside turn, he almost stops. And to make the inside turn look proper, he needs to move forward through the turn the entire time. So I'm using that second whip just to keep him moving through the turn. And then he's going to learn that I'm not stepping in front of him so that he stops. I'm stepping in front of him so he turns and he moves forward. So he did a great job. I think his inside turns got better as I did it over and over. So sometimes you just need to keep trying until you get the right result. And then I give him a little rub and send him back. My last pig is Bambino, and this is Karis's showmanship pig, bred by Hilberg. This is the 3rd pig we have from Robbie Hilberg, and she really doesn't need a lot of work. I mean, she's one of our oldest pigs in the show barn right now, and has done really well for Karis's showmanship. My basic task for her then is just to keep maintaining her endurance. I worked on a few inside turns, making sure she's walking through the turns completely. In this case, Karis shows this pig 10 times better than me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So in this case, I'm not going to try to mess with anything. I'm just going to try to keep her maintained and ready for the next show that we go to. I rub her belly, put her back, and now I get to clean all the pins, pro hair and pro charge all the pigs, and sometime go to bed. Hope this helps.